the Canon 80D, a huge beast of a camera that basically built YouTube. I mean, this camera has launched 1,000 YouTube channels. It's been used by both mighty and tiny channels. But since its release, many other brands have tried to take the 80D's lunch, including Canon itself. Is the Canon 80D still worth it in late 2018? Let's find out. What's up, everyone? I'm the Everyday Dad, and if I can figure it out, you can figure it out. I feel like I've finally arrived as a YouTuber. I'm sitting here talking about the 80D. No kidding, like many people, I've sat down and watched hundreds of videos, just transfixed as Casey Neistat made this camera dance and do things that most of us, including me, I still can't do with even more expensive cameras. However, these days, the video specs aren't really stacked when compared against the competition or even Canon itself at much cheaper price points. And on that very convenient segue, let's talk about those specs and see what this baby can actually do. Quick disclaimer, I'm not a professional photographer, nor am I a professional videographer. I make home videos and these YouTube videos you see, so the specs/features we'll be covering today are the ones that matter most to the online content creator. The Canon 80D was released in February of 2016 and is a prosumer level DSLR from the king of mirrors, Canon. It has a 24 megapixel APS-C CMOS sensor with their awesome dual pixel autofocus. It has a 3-inch fully articulating touchscreen, which is, I just love saying. It can capture 1080p at 60 frames per second, and it has a weather-resistant body. Now, those aren't the most earth-shattering specs I've seen on a camera so far this year, but a lot of times, the camera can be more than the sum of its technical features. Physically, this camera feels amazing. There isn't any other way to put it. It's way bigger than cameras I generally use, but dang, I can see why so many people enjoy this camera. In my opinion, you can make up a lot of missing specs if you make a piece of kit that not only works well, but really plays the part of a high-end camera, and darn it, the 80D nails it. So far in all the cameras I've reviewed on the channel, my top 3 feeling cameras of all time are the Panasonic GH5, the Canon EOS R, and the 80D now fully joins their rank. This feels like just a high-end piece of gear. Now, it does have a nice array of physical buttons and dials to go along with that awesome weather-sealed body. The control wheel on the back is probably my favorite control wheel ever. Can you hear that? I love that. Now, one of the issues you will run into with DSLRs, and this one isn't any different, but a lot of these controls are for photo mode, and they're not gonna do much for you in live view, which is what they call DSLR video mode. Like this cool display right here will only show you exposure compensation when you're doing video. But something that easily fixes button issues is the very nice and very large fully articulating touchscreen. While I much prefer being able to have easily customizable physical buttons and dials, if you can't give me that, giving the ability to change settings while in front of the camera through the touchscreen is, I will accept that as a pretty good consolation prize. But that's enough talking at the camera. Let's assemble the nitty-gritty camera committee to assess and judge the Canon 80D against the 3 most important aspects of a camera for YouTube creators. First up, image quality. Now, while the internet can't agree on much, it can at least agree on the fact that Canon cameras, even their DSLRs, have some fantastic image quality, especially in the colors that they produce. Now, it doesn't have the highest bitrate, nor does it even have basic 4K, but I think the 1080p coming out of the 80D is perfectly good. I think it looks pretty well for being an older camera. Now, I don't want to get too much into the other 2 aspects of the camera that we'll cover here in a little bit, but the image quality is great when it comes to what comes in the box, and it's pretty easy to get, and there are other ways to make it even better. But don't take my word for it. Let's head outside for our patented vlogging test. Welcome to the video/vlogging test of the Canon 80D. Now, we've never, like we mentioned earlier, we've never used a Canon 80D, even though it's like the camera that built YouTube. If you associate one camera with YouTube, at least for me, I associate it with the 80D because, Casey Neistat used it for a long time and he made this thing sing. I can't even make cameras look this good even when they cost so much more. But it's time to do the most important test we do, and to bring out my inner Casey Neistat, we will be using my least favorite tripod in existence, the Joby GorillaPod. We also probably need a lens too, right? So I got the kit lens, I got the nice kit lens, the 18-135, which does have image stabilization. Okay, on to the vlogging test. Whoa. So here we are doing our vlogging test on the Canon 80D. First impressions, this thing is heavy. I don't know how he carried this thing around for so long through so much stuff, because man, it's a beefy camera. I do have it set to full auto mode, and the audio you're hearing right now is the one still coming out of my recorder. I don't have a microphone to put on this thing anymore, but this is the audio being recorded internally to the Canon 80D. Audio test 1, 2, 3. Audio test 1, 2, 3. Whew, it's beefy. There's the sun. Can you see me anymore? Am I blown out with exposure? Maybe. Well, it auto white balanced to being sunny. Here's some front facing stuff. Now this lens does have stabilization built into it, so hopefully it's not doing terrible. And I like that I can still see myself in the screen. I like that I know that the dual pixel autofocus still has me in focus because it's got the box. And look, there are cameras out there where I don't trust their little box. Unfortunately, the GH5 is one of them. But Canon, if it has my face in a box, I believe that it is in focus. So thank you for keeping my face in a box, Canon. Man, my arm, I'm already, okay. I'm tired, I'm exhausted. We still got more of this to go today. But I do like the image quality so far, but I am excited to see the image quality. I do think this is a very popular camera for a reason, and I'm just kind of chatting at you guys now so you can see more of the image quality, because I do want to make sure that you get all of the image quality. I don't want you to take my word for it back in the studio. I want you to get the real world experience of the Canon 80D. Feels so official. Feels so official when you say it like that. Okay, let's head back. Switch arms, because man, this is heavy. All right. Back to the video. And we're back. But don't get too comfy, because now it's time to do one of the most important tests, the indoor studio test, to see if this is a camera that you might potentially use in your own YouTube video production studio. And here we are doing the in-studio test of the Canon 80D. Now I do have it set to intelligent auto, and we're filming in the exact same lighting that we just saw a few seconds ago. Now I am cheating a little bit. I took the kit lens off and I've now got my Sigma 18-35 on the Canon 80D, which I guess that's not really cheating, because as we'll talk about here in a little bit, that is one of the big benefits of the Canon, any Canon camera, but the 80D in particular and their standard DSLRs have access to a huge variety of lenses that should make everything just look So oddly enough, this should look a little better, because the earlier part was filmed on the M50. I'm curious to see what the differences are, because there might be like a bigger, more official M50 versus 80D video coming out this Wednesday. I'm just saying. But okay, this is the image quality you can expect out of the Canon 80D if you want to use it in low light or studio stuff for your own YouTube channel. Back to the rest of the video. We're back again, and this time you can actually get comfy. So as we've seen, the 80D can make some pretty darn nice images, and there is a reason why 2 years later, a lot of YouTubers continue to use this camera. But for me, the second content creator aspect is actually by far and away the most important, and I feel like it is to the majority of other creators, maybe not the comment section of these videos. Fiddliness. So we mention this all the time, but fiddliness is the most important aspect for me. Like, it doesn't matter how good the image quality is, if it takes way too long, or it takes too much effort, or if it's just something I don't want to deal with to get the video quality I want. So there are two parts to fiddliness. Number one, how easy is it to use the actual physical body of the camera? Are the buttons and dials easy to operate? Does it have a nice touchscreen interface? Does it have the things that you need? But number two is, how easy is it once you hit record? Once you've hit the record button, how easy is it to actually get the footage you want out of it? So like, my best example of this is I'm currently recording on a Sony RX100 Mark V. You can see it right there. It's plugged into an Atomos Ninja 5 recorder down there. It's got all sorts of stuff, and there's all sorts of moving pieces and parts. It is very, very fiddly to set up. It's not easy in the first part of fiddliness, but fiddliness number two, where once I hit record, it's so easy to see. Like, I can see that I'm in focus, I can see that the audio is good, I can see everything about it. It's got a huge touch screen that just lets me see everything. That means a win for fiddliness number two. Bringing it back to the Canon cameras, this, in my opinion, wins on both kinds of fiddliness. Not only is there plenty of buttons and dials, I mean, look at this. Look at this thing. Look at how huge this body is. It has all the buttons and dials you could ever want straight from it. It's easy to use, it's easy to understand. Okay, I hit the record button, I'm recording. I can change things while I'm recording, which is very important. But the big one, once you are recording, you can see everything that's going on from the flip out touchscreen. Not only that, but like a weakness of the M50, which I love the M50, but you can actually see your audio levels on the 80D. Now that is something you technically can do with the M50, but you got to go to a view where you can't actually see anything. Whereas on here, you hit the info button, it'll bring up the audio levels, and then you can hit the info button again to go back to your beautiful face. I always got to know what my beautiful face is doing. But I think this is one of the least fiddly cameras on the market, and Canon's line in general just really wins for me when it comes to fiddliness, and the 80D is no exception. I will give it some negative points for a few things, one being it's big. I mean, it is a big camera. It's almost the size of my head. Look at that. Head comparison of the 80D to the everyday dad's head. It's a giant camera, it's heavy, and it doesn't do a clean HDMI out. So if you wanted to use something like a recorder, you can, but you're gonna get all of the information, the things that you see when you're looking at a camera screen, you're gonna get all of that in your footage, which nobody actually wants out of a camera. But I will say it's really good for fiddliness in most ways, but you're gonna have to overcome that heft. If you keep it in one spot, no big deal. It's just gonna, stay in one spot. Okay, that's my fiddliness, lecture on the 80D today. Back to the video. And last but certainly not least, and something that the 80D really excels in, the ecosystem. This camera body will only get you so far. One of the major benefits of using an interchangeable lens camera system instead of something like a camcorder or a point and shoot is the ability to use a wide variety of lenses and other accessories. Frankly, the Canon EF lens lineup is one of the, if not the largest in the entire world. Not only does it have every popular focal length covered, it's so popular that you can get some really good deals on refurbished lenses, or even get a great deal on a generation back, and they still will work fantastic and save you some serious money instead of buying new. That's a win. That's 3 wins all in once. Not only does it have the ability to use a wide variety of lenses, but all of the physical inputs into the camera make this a very versatile camera to turn into a system. From microphone in to headphones out, it can do way more than just what comes in the box. So what, right? So should you get a Canon 80D? Well, it is an awesome camera, and I've enjoyed using it through the last week or so, and I do think it's both very easy to get a great image out of, and I think it's something that you can also do very efficiently with very small file sizes, which helps not only with recording, but also editing later, and you won't need to kill all of your video storage space when you make a YouTube video. But it is really pricey for what it is. Now I get it that it's one of Canon's higher end DSLRs, but even inside of Canon's own line, there are cameras that match and beat this for video at much cheaper price points. This one with the 18 to 135 kit lens is about $1,100. You can get the one with the cheaper kit lens that will run you about $1,000, which is still pretty pricey for a 2-year-old DSLR that doesn't even shoot 4K. It is a great camera, and if you already have one, I don't see a need to upgrade from it, but I wouldn't go out of my way to buy one unless you find it on a really great deal. Thanks for watching.